So we've heard how audience expectations are shaping the new face of Hollywood. Next, a conversation about how new technologies are allowing content creators to find niche audiences. Please welcome my colleague, The Atlantic's Kasia Cieplak, with AwesomenessTV's Sarah Penna. Thank you.
And thank you, Sarah, for being here.
Thank you.
So Sarah has had a fascinating career in media. I think her career has, can you hear me okay? Her career has paralleled the rise of YouTube and the YouTube star system in fascinating ways. She was a talent agent a talent manager for some of the early YouTube stars before YouTube talent management was even a thing. She created a company called Big Frame in 2011 that represents talent, develops talent, and focuses on developing multi-channel networks around targeted audiences. We were just talking in the green room about the word niche and how that sounds small. And these audiences aren't necessarily small. She sold her company to AwesomenessTV, had a baby, and then came right back and started a new multi-channel network focused on millennial moms, which is hardly a small demographic. So I'd like to speak with her about where she saw the opportunity in these audiences, how she works with talent to develop them. My first question is, was there a moment when you started looking at YouTube talent and you saw an opportunity? Was there an aha moment for you, and what was that?
Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for having me today. It's a real honor to be here. I have, as Kasia mentioned, I sort of started the YouTube management industry. This was in 2009 when I was working for a gentleman by the name of Phil DeFranco. And we started, looking at his data and his analytics and his engagement and his viewers, and we realized that he had more audience than Larry King, and he was doing sort of a news talk show similar to Larry King. And we did a brand deal with him where we were driving to a brand's niche or sort of microsite, I guess, and he broke that site. Now, this is sort of a common thing that you hear now. Oh, these social media influencers, they drive all this traffic and it breaks a site. But back then, it never really happened before, and the brand was totally shocked. And I started realizing, this word influence is sort of overused, but back then, way back then, 5 years ago, was sort of this idea of, okay, how can this one individual who has this massive audience that no one outside of this sort of bubble of YouTube is paying attention to be, breaking websites and be driving this amount of traffic? And so for me, that's when I started realizing, okay, no one's paying attention to this, so I'm going to. And I'm going to sort of help usher this fragmented and sort of unsophisticated industry and try to, along with my other sort of visionary colleagues in this space, like George Trompolis, who you'll hear from later, and Danny Zappin at Maker, how can we sort of usher in this sort of chaos or Wild West, you also hear this term a lot, and help put some sophistication around it, help add a layer of professionalism so that when the brands and advertisers are ready to start, working with us in a real way, which has frankly just started to happen now, we're ready for them and we can sort of handle all of that.
And what motivated you to start Awestruck?
So, as Kasia mentioned, I sold my company, Big Frame, in 2013 to AwesomenessTV, which is the biggest teen destination online and is a joint venture between DreamWorks and Hearst. And Awesomeness, what they did so well at the beginning was recognize that, yes, there is this value in having a large MCN and in having, drawing a circle around all of these influencers, but it's really important to target one specific demographic. So they chose the teen audience. Again, you could say that this is niche, but it's a huge audience. They have 90,000 creators doing 1 billion views a month. Their owned and operated channel has 3 million subscribers, doing 12 million views a week. So these are huge numbers. And when they acquired Big Frame, I was actually 5 months pregnant, which is a whole other story. But I, as I was going through this process of becoming a mom and a working mom, I was kind of frankly desperate to kind of connect with other moms who were like me and creating content and speaking to me. And it was truly shocking how little information was out there in the video space for moms. Not just information, but entertainment as well. And so I kind of sort of, along with Brett and Brian, who run Awesomeness, crafted this idea for Awestruck. The idea behind Awestruck is there is this sort of shockingly underserved audience, which is the millennial mom. It is a huge audience. These moms are consuming content in a new way that we're just starting to understand. It's very important that you're creating content that's relatable to them and that, you know, they can. And I think the relatable piece is sort of the word that we keep coming back to in this demographic, because you are going through these experiences and you maybe don't live in the same city as your mom or dad or family, and you sort of want to reach out and connect with people. And the content that we were finding was either extremely cheesy or it was so clinical that, you know, it felt like the people who are creating it, suddenly, you're a mom, now you just want this information. You don't want entertainment. And so we really just saw a white space to go into and kind of create and help make moms laugh and give them information and help them connect with other moms who are going through the same thing.
And what are some of the projects you have now that are engaging this audience? How do you approach making content for them and bringing them into the ecosystem?
So similar to when I started Big Frame, it's a little bit of an uphill battle. So millennial moms are still very much reading blogs, and I've signed up for more newsletters now that I'm a mom than ever. So sort of this, you know, newsletter, blogs, editorial is still very much how moms are consuming content. But we're trying to say, we see in about 18 months, moms are really going to be consuming a lot more video, and that's really the direction that things are heading. So we're going to be there when they're ready to be consuming content. So we do editorial. Obviously, Facebook is a huge place for moms, but we also believe that video is really the direction things are going, and so we're creating a huge. We have a distribution deal with Verizon's Go90 app. We obviously have a YouTube channel, and then we have this community of moms who are influencers themselves and creating content.
So what are some of the things you think about when you have a talented creator and you want to build their audience and you want to focus on targeting a specific demographic, whether it's moms or maybe a different audience?
Yeah, I think we look at each individual YouTube channel as a brand in and of itself. And so when you're either starting a YouTube channel, something we're doing with Awestruck that's a little bit different than what I did in the past is we're actually working with a lot of celebrities. So because moms are such an underserved audience, not just in digital, but really across the board, we have found this really great sort of opportunity with celebrity moms who want to, you know, have a presence on YouTube. So we're working with Zoe Saldana and Snooki and JWoww from the Jersey Shore, who are actually, you know, rebranding as moms and have done very well with us. So when we look at somebody, whether it's a Zoe Saldana or a Snooki or JWoww or, you know, a sort of digital native YouTube influencer, we work with them to really hone in on what their brand is and to have a point of view and to stand for something. And I think that's the core of what makes a successful YouTube channel.
Great. I saw an old profile of you from way back when you were launching Big Frame, and it mentioned that you had to sort of fight for credibility as an early YouTube manager, that traditional media companies didn't necessarily see the value there, and also as a young female founder of a tech company. Do you feel that the landscape has changed now, that digital is creating new doors for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am certainly not the first, you know, female founder of a company who's sort of had these challenges, but I actually think it was beneficial for me. And now being a mom, running a mom network, it's like the greatest thing ever. You know, my colleagues who are not moms are like jealous because I can relate to our demographic in such a personal way, and the talent and everything. So But yeah, back then I think it was less about being a female entrepreneur and more about this space being largely, not understood. And so when I would walk into traditional media companies or agencies, it was a little bit more of a struggle in saying why they should take this talent seriously. And I think while it has changed drastically and you see a lot of talent agencies and obviously, TV networks really taking this talent seriously and it's all starting to converge and blend together, there's still a lot of questions about, can this audience translate? What is the real monetization potential? And we, even as champions and sort of insiders, don't have those answers yet.
Great. We have a few minutes left. Are there any questions from the audience? Come on, right here.
Hi, my name is Larry Vane. I'm from Los Angeles, and here is a guest of Steve Clemens. I'm a father of a 9-year-old, and the content that you will provide may go to mom. So I'm curious on two issues. One, how do you decide the type of content, kind of a moral compass of what information will go out there now with video? And then secondly, how you, for other types of information that may not just be storytelling, fact-check information so that proper information is getting out to the moms.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great question. So we really see our content as being entertainment first. And so we're taking the approach of that creating relatable content where moms are going through an emotional or a personal experience and they can relate to the content that we're making. We are not necessarily coming and saying, if you have, if this is going on with your child, you should do this. So it's less about this information and more about entertainment. Now, that being said, we do think it's important to have sort of takeaways from our content. So when we are in those positions of wanting to give sort of tips or information, we will have experts. So we have a show, for example, called Paging Dr. Andy, and she's this amazing pediatric nurse in LA, and she, is answering questions from our audience. So in that respect, we'll bring on experts and making sure that we are getting the information out properly. Yeah.
Right here.
Hi, I'm Montes Irreste. I'm curious about changes to YouTube. So everyone's talking about the new pricing model where folks are trying to get commercial-free YouTube and they're really trying to generate a new structure for self-sustaining themselves in terms of funding. How's that going to impact the content that you're creating? And are you going to have 2 streams of content, one for free users, one for, hook them in and try to get them to pay for the channel? How does that work in your business plan?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think it's so early to tell how, YouTube Red is what you're talking about is going to affect programming decisions. At the moment, our main focus is building our brand. Because we are a new brand, nobody knows who we are. We launched 5 weeks ago. So our goal is really just get our content out there as far and wide as we can. We have a huge content commitment with Verizon, so we're very much focused on that, and that's a new platform as well. So what are the learnings from that we can take and then apply across all of the different platforms that we're working on? But I think that in the future, we're certainly excited to see if YouTube Red is a significant revenue stream, and if so, how we can sort of tweak it and tweak our content and create exclusive content, especially with the celebrities that we're working with, to draw people in and have them, excited about paying a subscription for YouTube.
Great.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more, maybe 2. Anyone? With the leftover time, I have one more question for you. Sort of with all the competing, converging platforms for video creators out there, you can put video on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and Vine, and you can go on and list 20 other platforms. What do you do with creators to help them navigate that sort of exploding and also converging landscape when they have so many choices for platforms to engage audience?
Yeah, I think it's really overwhelming to sort of decide as a creator where you're going to be spending your time. So we certainly try to suggest to our talent, figure out where your audience is most likely to be and go there. So for example, for our moms, while we're excited about Snapchat, that demographic's not quite there yet. And so we obviously suggest to our talent to focus on YouTube, and then Instagram and Facebook are sort of the three main places that moms are. So it is really about kind of finding what your niche is and where your audience is, and then focusing in on those, 3 or 4 at the most, because it is hard to drive audience to like 15 different platforms.
And it's a lot of uploading.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much.